this made. Smoother than your smoothest criminal. Shamo. About that money, what we get into. Shamo. About that money, get residuals. Shamo.
What it do, people? You're now tuned in.
Popovich.
Popovich
TV.
TV.
Oh yeah.
We live, we rolling, we unscripted, we authentic, that feeling back up in here one more again. So if it's your first time, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. To everybody else, you already know. Tony, there was no other way. We in the end game now. Let's talk about this Jermaine Dupri shit though, because he definitely was talking about hits. And before we get into what he said, fuck all that if he fumbled Janet Jackson. I know a lot of women might care about that. Got a lot of dudes talking about that too. Oh, you fuck with Janet Jackson? Listen, it is what it is. They not together no more. And right now, at his age and where he at in his life, minus the talent of Janet Jackson, because there's only one, looks-wise, in her prime, he probably could go get 1,000 Janet Jacksons, minus the talent, minus the nasty boy and all that shit. And I mean, I'm in control and all that shit from the 80s. Minus her singing ability, he probably could go get, you know what I mean, 1,000 Janet Jacksons in their prime, you know what I mean? At his age. And I know he had the Louis socks on, he was looking a little funny. But besides that, because that's what people bring it up in a lot of these comments. But let's stick to the topic of what he was talking about. And here's what he's talking about right here.
Shout out to everybody that came out to the LL Cool J event last night. I learned something, I think, when I was there. And what I think I learned is that the reason why there's no male stars in hip-hop anymore that have the impact that LL Cool J has and had,
one of them,
is because the goal in hip-hop used to be impact. Not sales, not charts, impact. How hard, pause, you could impact the streets. And that's no longer the goal. And that's to me, is the sole reason why rap is not what rap used to be. Because they don't care about impacting the streets no more. I want to say shout out to everybody that came out to the LL.
He basing this off this the U.S. team with Braun and Steph and them. They talking about they not like us, right? I guess that's playing. And Steph, as you can hear him right here.
I want to say shout.
That's the only song in America. Braun, like I love him. Whole there's some people real quick, because people like when JD is like impact the streets, a lot of people misconstrued what the streets mean. Talking about like out in the streets and, you know, street shit. We're talking about the masses rocking with your shit, bumping your shit. Every car that you roll by, playing your shit. Radio playing your shit. Households out the window, playing your shit, rocking with your shit. That's impact that he's talking about. And LL was definitely one that had that. But let's talk about a few other people, because he don't really think Steph may have witnessed. And I started thinking like, damn, I think Steph is in his 30s. So he definitely should have witnessed some impacts, right? But this is impact, hip-hop. And it goes back to making hits. And we keep coming back with more and more hits. More and more hits. I'll say Kendrick Lamar, They Not Like Us is a impact street record. I'm going to say it's more for the West Coast, and that's no bias. I had Kendrick winning the battle. We won't reopen that can of worms, etc. Slightly, it should have been by a landslide. All right, cool. I'm saying it's a West Coast record because it really is. And since I've been over here, I'm outside all the time. I'm going to say I probably heard the song out in the street or in somebody's car maybe like 10, 12 times. You know, and it could be because it's a West Coast record. We over here on the East Coast. Some people may not rock with him like that. And I like the record. At first, I didn't. I was like, it had to grow on me. You know what I mean? And it did grow on me. Maybe because they rocking it. And obviously, Steph is from, you know, well, he ain't from, but he played on the West Coast. He played in the Bay Area. So that's all they probably play. That's why they like, yo, this is the only song in America, because they probably just playing that shit a million times in a row. And I wanna go back in time and let's rewind and let's think about some other artists, some other albums that came out, both coasts, that had the streets on a smash, and what JD is talking about. Let's go back to the West Coast, right? The Chronic. When the Chronic came out, East Coast, West Coast, you know what I mean? No Coast, South, wherever you was at, niggas was playing the Chronic. Every song on the album, there was no skip in the album. Every skit on the album, niggas was rocking it. Niggas was fucking with it. And obviously it's a classic album in my book. I got it as one of the classics. Classics is no skips, the synergy, the flow of the album, you know, the test of time, meaning that you could play it now and still rock. But I seen one of the comments, somebody was like, nah, as far as when the list came out of Billboard's top 5 list, they had Nas, they had Chronic, they had Illmatic, Chronic. Let me see if my memory is good. Lauryn Hill, Outkast, and I think Notorious B.I.G. Life After Death, right? No skips on the album, on the Chronic album. No skips. Another album that followed that right up, that had the streets and the smash. And it is a West Coast, but I'm going to just bring it up early, quick from the 90s to give some people from yesteryear, my age, and my age bracket, even up to now, of what Jermaine Dupri is talking about. And why Steph is mad, because like any song that you keep hearing over and over, you are going to get tired of it. But that's just a single. We're talking about a whole album and a whole movement, have people really impact. Like, nah, no matter where you go, you telling the DJ, play that shit again. Play that shit again. You're going to dance all night and you're going to rock. Snoop album, Snoop Doggy Dogg album, same impact. Same impact. Then Big, right? Bring It to the East. The Ready to Die album. And he was, not only was an impact, but because Dre and Snoop and them had a stronghold on hip hop for 2-3 years, right? With those 2 albums, Big brought it back to the East. He brought it back over here, and that whole album obviously is a classic as well, even though that's why on that top 5 list, I think Ready to Die is the better album, but that's just me, over Life After Death. Another album, right, that had the streets going, or the more impact. And Pac, obviously with All Eyes on Me, had the impact, but we're talking about like the impact when 50 Cent came out. That's more today, like 2000, 2001, right? Get Rich or Die Trying. The impact of that album, the impact of him, and how he had the streets on fire. DMX, when he came out with Hell is Hot, Dark and Hell is Hot, then follow that up 6 months later with Flesh of My Flesh and Blood of My Blood. Now, an East Coast guy myself, Pac did die. A lot of Pac fans did swing to X, and I was incarcerated when both DMX albums came out, obviously through that whole time. The impact was crazy. That's the impact that JD is talking about. When the Purple Tape came out, which is another classic, no skips to me. Every single car that was going by was playing. If it wasn't Incarcerated Scarface, it was, you know what I mean, motherfucking Ice, Glaciers of Ice, and Wisdom Body, and you know what I mean, all the bangers on that album. You can say, damn, this is the impact that JD is talking about. You say, now let's bring it up. You say, all right, when was the last album that came out, East Coast or West Coast, that had the streets like that? Just think about it. Obviously, LL, who he mentioned, what album that LL came out with that had all of the hits, talking about a whole album was like singles. And I think he's one of the first persons to do this, which was Jingling Baby, Cars Ride By with the Booming Systems. That album right there, no skips on that album, and every song, Round the Way Girl, every song on that album was like a single. That's why they always on the radio. They play this whole album on the radio. It's like this whole album is nothing but bangers. And that's why L is one of the GOATs. And that's why I said, if you don't watch my channel, and you should, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If he do a verses, even though a lot of his songs is old, he just came out with a new album. The first single with Fat Joe and Rick Ross, right? he'll crush a lot of people just with his songs. He got over 20 good songs, but the best songs, if he pick his best songs and go on the verses with somebody, he gonna eat a lot of niggas up. He gonna eat a lot of niggas up. But think about who's the last person. Who's the top artist, right? They say the big three, or it was the big three, until Kendrick came and shut that shit down. J. Cole's bowed out gracefully. Drake lost the battle, so now it's just a big one. Like you said, it ain't no big three, it's just Big Me. What albums they came out that they whole album, not 2 or 3 singles, 4 singles off a 10 song album, 11 song album, 13 songs, the whole album is banging and everybody's rocking it. I'm gonna be hard pressed to even think of one. Nas, who I got, is #1 in my book. I got Nas and I got Hov, right? #1, #2. He came out with the Blue Magic 3. I think that album is fire. It's super close to being classic, right? But it's too short. But I think it's definitely, if it's not a classic, it's right under there, right? For a little minute, couple of days, especially if you're in my era, you appreciated it, you enjoyed it. You know what I mean? You absorbed the album and, you know, all the growth of Nas turning 50, hip-hop turning 50, and you like, this is what an artist that been around for so long go from showing you the different levels of growth and maturity, and they not still just rapping about the same shit. Insert a Jim Jones, a Mano, certain people rapping about the same shit. Your age is going up, but your music is stale. It's staying the same. There's no growth and development. Hov had to show us, right? No more what he said, crack cocaine, now we off that. We on to these merrily streams of summer. We eating off these merrily streams, right? Off that wave. That's why you give us the 444 album. You see the growth and mature, because like you millionaires anyway. You've been in the rap game as long as fuck. You the grandfathers of this shit. If not, you definitely the uncles. How you still gonna be rapping about Marcy selling drugs? You could, you know what I mean, if it's done in a fly way. People will listen. But I'm only bringing that up to say it's growth. But what album has smacked like a motherfucking get rich or die trying? Like a hell is dark and hell is hot. What albums have now? You could say Pop Smoke, who I just talked about a few topics ago. His album, you know what I mean? His buzz, I should say. And the album is alright. Obviously, I heard the album. I listened to it. You know what I mean? I think the album is a good quality album. We got help from 50 Cent or production or whatever. Obviously, life cut short, so, you know, we don't know what could have been. But we know the momentum, the impact was starting to be felt. And if you know in the comments, if you're watching, the little people that is watching, what albums that came out hip-hop that had an impact like JD is talking about, like I'm talking about. The whole album is a classic, and then niggas is everywhere you go, they rockin'. We're talking about everywhere, not just a single. Because Kendrick, this album, these songs is singles. They Not Like Us is not on the album. Now he probably gonna put it on the album if he's smart. The other songs, Euphoria, we not listening to those no more. The Meet the Parents or Family Matters or whatever, or maybe that was a Drake song. We not rocking those. Now people gonna put up on the internet, oh, it's #1, 2, and 3 on the billboards at the time, but niggas that over here ain't playing it. I don't think niggas down south is playing it. I don't think niggas in certain areas is playing those songs. Now they may play They Not Like Us, because it's some more up tempo. It got the little, you can dance to it, obviously the beat is hitting hard. But where's the impact music? And that's what JD is saying. There's no more impact male artists coming out that's just taking the game by storm. You may have a good single. You may have a good little 1 or 2 hits. You may jump on a remix, make it yourself. And, you know, Fat Joe done had hits, right? Singles. All the way up and different. You can point out different songs through the last 4 or 5 years, singles, but where's the album? And then also, I believe, because we can see the artists now, we in a digital age. It ain't the Word Up magazine, it ain't the Source magazine, it ain't the TheY magazine or whatever you was getting your dose and your fix of hip hop from. Artists is easily accessible now. So it's like, I'm seeing you all the time, I'm rocking with it, but, you know, I fuck with you, Meek Mill, but I see you doing the bunny hops. Well, I rock with you such and such, but you do certain things behind closed doors. I don't really rock with that, so, you know what I mean? It's too much exposure. And you can say, you know what they say, publicity is good or bad. It's still good publicity because you're being exposed. I think that has something to do with it. People not buying records like that no more. Into the Wu-Tang Clan, definitely a classic to me. And now when you rewind, obviously that was their introduction. My cousin asked me that. People was rocking with Wu. Even Nas' album, but then Ben came and overshadowed. It was written in it's still Illmatic. But I meant more like, you know, that 50 Cent energy. That purple tape, you know what I mean? That type of energy, like universal, because it's one thing to be a good quality album, but like 50 Cent said with Jada, like, yeah, Jada, they love your vocals, but that's only in New York, dog. Your ass is local. Like, you ain't globally making impact.
You know the vibes. Yeah, kid. Vibe of his TV. Oh shit, we live, we rolling.